Welcome back to another podcast. Finally, we have a name, which is good news. I'll come on to that in a minute. But thank you everyone for all your feedback after our pilot episode, which we put out last week or the week before. Some great feedback, really, really positive stuff. Excellent ideas on how to improve, which is great. We read through every single one of them, although there's some pretty long documents. I mean, we said all feedback was good feedback. 3 pages of feedback was a lot of feedback, but we don't mind. It's all good. So we have a name. I'll pass you on to Cameron. He's going to let you know what we came up with.
Thank you, Daryl. It's good to be here again. Yeah, that's right. We put a poll out. We had over 500 votes in that poll.
500.
About 530, 540.
That's good.
I mean, you rounded up that 600. But a lot of votes. We appreciate all the feedback. Like Daryl said, we narrowed it down to 4 potential names in the end.
Yep.
Runner-up was Backwall Bose.
Decent name. I actually really liked that.
I like that one too. That was decent.
Yeah.
But a clear winner in the end. Comments from the Couch, the Squash Show.
Excellent. Great name. I love it.
Great name. We've used that before in our social media accounts, hashtag comments from the couch. And if you want a topic discussed from myself and Daryl, if you want a question answered, make sure you tag us in hashtag comments from the couch, and we'll sort of get through those for the next show and see what we can come up with.
You love comments from the couch. Every time I look at Twitter and there's PSA going on, Pilly's on comments from the couch, so we can carry this on.
You know what? I'm on the couch. I'm just throwing out comments, mate.
Yeah, you love
Left,
squash.
right.
You love squash. Okay, so thank you everyone for that. I think it's a really good name. It's very positive. It sort of had to have squash in it at some point, so that's why we've added the Squash Show. But comments from the couch works well, so I think we're all happy with that. Let us know if you like it or if you don't like it, but that's what it is, so deal with it. So on to today. Today we have 2 main topics. The first topic is going to be academies and junior development. So how players transition from being a good junior player or not a good junior player, and how they transition into being a senior player, because that's a huge jump in a lot of players' careers. And we'll come into whether academy systems work and our own personal experiences from that. And the other topic is, Cameron?
The other topic is match and tournament preparation.
Okay.
So how we prepare individually for matches and also a tournament. So it could be a week out, a few weeks out, a couple of days out, and then hours out from a big match. And we'll take you guys through our individual preparations for that sort of thing.
Yeah, I think that'll work well. Obviously, amateur players will be able to relate, hopefully, to some of the stuff we talk about. Obviously, not all of it. We play for a living, and you guys obviously play for fun. Hopefully, for fun.
Bit of fun.
Depends how serious the tournament is and who you're playing. But yeah, so hopefully that can relate. But I think first we have apparently some listeners' questions, which Cameron would like to do.
Yes. Well, there was some great feedback from. We threw it out there. We said, okay, anyone out there who wants a topic discussed or a question answered, hashtag comments from the couch.
Yeah.
And you people did not disappoint. Now,
thanks, guys. Yeah.
Thanks,
now, apparently,
guys.
I have to answer this. I mean, Cameron's just shoved this section into the show, but
yeah, Daryl hasn't seen these questions, by the way. So let's see what he can come up with.
Cheers.
Are you ready?
Go on then.
Okay, number 1 from Tom Swindon. Shout out to Tommy Boy. Who
is that his surname, or is that where he's from?
That's that Swindon lot, isn't it?
That's Swindon lot.
Tom Swindon,
okay.
EN, in his Twitter bio, he plays squash and drinks beer.
Well,
sounds like a good bloke, really.
Yeah, that's a dream, really.
Okay, it's got a question. Great first episode. Question: what is the most unusual thing to have happened during a match you've played in? Does anything come to mind?
Well, something springs to mind because it's recent.
Oh,
but at TOC, play was obviously stopped in my match with Rosner in the first round due to a glass splinter in my finger.
That's right.
Which is that's probably the most random injury I've sort of come across, really. And
I've never heard of that.
Yeah, of course. And it happened to me. It was so random. I sort of wiped my hand on the back wall, as you do, to sort of wipe sweat. And bizarrely, sort of as I brush my hand over the sort of gap between
The glass
the panels, a little splinter of glass where it was sort of worn went into my finger, and it had to be typically on my playing hand. So
wow,
straight away I knew there was something very strange going on. Went off court, and yeah, bizarrely that was what it was. It transpired that it was a glass splinter.
That is very unusual.
Finger. So I took my 3 minutes. Luckily, Simon said, take a little bit longer if you need to get it out. And I was sort of scratching at it like a maniac. I mean, it was hurting, but eventually,
could you get it out?
Yeah, it was sort of 4 minutes, I think, into a minute over my allotted time. But yeah, Simon's a good guy.
Shout out to Simon for the extra 60 seconds.
I mean, we can probably shout out to him for actually winning the tournament as well, which is pretty ridiculous. But we don't want to go too far off topic, but that was phenomenal effort. So, but yeah, that's definitely the most.
Oh, well, I like that.
Okay,
I like that. The first thing that came to my head was I was playing a junior match once, and it's in the 5th game, and it's halfway through the 5th. I've gone to serve, and then I heard some murmurs from the crowd. And I've turned around, and here's my opponent, Wade Johnson, throwing up in the back corner. I'm like, oh, what? Wado, what's going on, mate? He's like, oh, a bit sick, Pill.
A bit sick.
All right, well, shook hands. Thanks for coming, Wado.
Then he just walked off. Thanks for coming.
Yeah, the ref's like, yeah, that's game over.
Okay,
I'm like, all right, cheers.
Done.
Anyway, moving on. Number 2 from Sarah.
Okay.
She wants to know, how do players deal with different time zones? So the fatigue factor of travelling, going through different time zones, having to play 1 or 2 days later sometimes.
Really good question. I mean, it's difficult. Hong Kong always strikes me immediately when people talk about that, because the jet lag I've always found in Hong Kong's pretty severe. Obviously, Australia and New Zealand is bad for us Brits or Europeans, but I think you try and get into a routine of sleeping that is geared around when you're playing. So whether it's, if you're tend to be playing early through the tournament, you might just tailor your sleep that way. But, it's not easy. You can wake up at 4 o'clock in the morning, and you just try and grab your sleep again later in the day if you can, and try and make up the hours that you need to rest, I guess. Yeah. That's how I do it anyway.
Yeah, and you try and, on your flight to Hong Kong, would you sort of have a look at the time zone, see what time it is in Hong Kong, and if you're supposed to be sleeping, would you try and get a couple of hours?
That's a good idea in theory, but no, I don't do that.
Come on, professional player.
Yeah, I know. I probably should, but no, I just try and power through when I'm there.
Yeah.
And get straight on the time zone.
Yeah.
So if I land at like 10 o'clock in the morning in Hong Kong, I'm like powering through.
You are pushing through
till 10 p.m. at least, and I mean it's horrendous.
It is horrendous.
I turned up in New York this time, 9 o'clock. Or whatever it was, Cameron fast asleep in his bed, and then he wondered why he woke up at 4:30. I was like, "Do you ever sleep well?" He went, "Wow, I woke up at 4:30," and
I thought I was pushing through.
Yeah, that was a good push through. I mean,
yeah.
But yeah, it's tough.
It is tough. Oh, that's good. There you go, Sarah. I hope you can take away a point from that. Question number 3 from J Tons. JTONZ.
Okay, so these are Twitter names. These are not their actual real names.
Right? No. Although going off our last episode, that could have tied in well.
Yeah.
J Tons from Twitter would like to know, I would love to hear a segment where you discuss players that you dread playing due to them having a specific exceptional shot that you might struggle with.
Okay. I think we can do a section on tough opponents later on, but on this particular question, he's talking about a specific shot.
A specific shot.
Who's sort of got a signature shot? The one that springs to mind for me is one that you don't see too often, but he plays it really, really well, is Mazen's forehand drop from the back. Yeah. So he takes a massive swing, or a massive wind-up, should I say. It looks like it's going to be a drive all the way till the last minute, and he just stops the racket as soon as the balls hit the string.
Yeah.
And it goes straight into the front forehand nick. Yeah. And most of the time you're on your heels waiting for the drive. That for me is an exceptional shot. Yeah. How do I deal with that?
How do you deal with that?
That's a good question. You have to sort of force yourself against your nature, so you know when the ball's in that area that, okay,
it may
come. Even though it looks like you're just convincing your mind that this might be a drop. But the problem with that is that when he hits a drive as well, it's a constant panic when the ball's in that area.
Yeah.
I don't know if you've played Mazin, but
I haven't, but I know exactly what you're talking
Okay.
about, and I've seen it. I've seen it played against guys all the time, and how you described it is how I would feel.
Yeah.
On my heels.
Yeah.
Okay. Next one.
Oh, there's more. Okay.
We've got one more.
Okay.
Last one.
Okay.
From Squashman on Twitter. Last question. What are your main interests outside of squash, apart from your family? What takes your interest? What are some of your hobbies? Let's get to know the real Daryl Selby.
The real name. Yeah. Okay. Obviously, I'm into my golf, but I haven't had a lot of time to play that recently. I've recently become fairly addicted to FIFA 18 on Xbox.
I've heard.
I say recently, I've always liked it, but I've got back into it recently, and the Foot Champions, the sort of online mode of it is very addictive. So I'm trying to improve at that very quickly, although it's very difficult.
Okay.
What else do I really like? I mean, I like reading. I do read quite a bit. I love sort of films and box sets. I mean, this is boring stuff. This is what everyone likes. I'm trying to think of something I like that no one else likes, but I'm quite a sort of standard boring person.
Just
so
a knockabout bloke, aren't you?
I'm just normal. So, how about you? Have you got anything? Anything out of the ordinary?
I'm trying to think of something random now, but not really. I would say
you love your backgammon.
I mean, I love my backgammon.
That's something that I sort of always associate with.
I would say, like yourself, golf and a couple of sports, but a little hobby. I would say backgammon. Me and a few of the boys, as you know, play on tour. We always carry a backgammon table or two with us. I normally try and take on my fellow countryman Ryan Caskelli. I think he's up in the stakes for 2017, but I'm coming to get you this year. Simon Rosner likes a game of backgammon, although he hasn't wanted to play me for the last 3 years because I took him down so severely at the US Open in about 2015.
He doesn't like losing.
He doesn't. Nicholas Muller, he's not too bad. Coppinger.
He's gone now.
He could throw the dice around.
Yeah, I'm sure.
But he's done. But I don't. The odd cup of coffee, the odd good cup of coffee.
Yeah,
but
that's boring as well. Everyone loves coffee.
He doesn't. Like
we're boring people, really. We love normal stuff.
Podcasts.
Yeah, getting into my podcast.
There we go.
All right. That is the end of the listeners' questions. We are moving on to our first topic, which is academies, junior development academies, and how that works in the world of squash. It might be different in other sports, but we're going to talk about it from a squash point of view. So, junior development. I mean, how did you transition from being, you were a good junior player, very good, obviously number one in Australia. There were some great players in our age group growing up.
Strong, decent age group.
Very decent age group. So, on the world scene, we're still talking like top 8, top 10 for your age as a junior. But how did you then transition that into being, a great player for 15 years on tour?
Yeah, I think as a young junior, for me, I did a lot of sports, a lot of different sports, and squash was just so much fun.
Yeah.
So I was into it not only because I lived next door and my parents owned the squash club, but it was so much fun. My friends played. You go to a junior tournament. Okay, you like to win, but it was fun. Then I would say I didn't get very good as a junior until I hit the under 19 age group. I started training a little bit more. I wanted to make the Australian junior team to go to the World Junior Championships in Milan in 2000. So the under 19 age group was when I sort of started to excel a bit, winning Australian junior titles. And then that transition, in Australia, as quite a few listeners and yourself probably know, we've got the AIS, the Australian Institute of Sport. So as a junior, the main thing that you wanted to do, if you wanted to go professional, that you had this AIS scholarship available if you were good enough and if they saw potential. So that was my main goal when I was 17, 18 years old. Luckily, I got accepted into that as a full-time scholarship and basically went into full-time training as soon as I left school.
And that was at 18, so you went into full-time.
Yeah.
And when you say full-time training, I mean, what that was what, 6 days a week, twice a day, 3 times a day, full on training. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
And how was that sort of academy? Because you were staying away from home.
I
right?
was.
So how was that type of environment for you at that age, being 18, obviously only just finished school? Was it a shock to the system? Did you enjoy it straight away? Did it take you a while to enjoy it? What were your feelings when you were there?
Yeah, I think the initial few months was quite exciting. So living away from home, living with Matt Sanders, who was my age in the Australian junior team as well. We're both living away from home for the first time. So the first few months, it was quite exciting. We're training. We're getting picked up to go to training every single day. Our weekly schedule is done. It's, you know, exactly what you're doing every day. So, you know, once the adrenaline sort of wore off, it was a little bit of a shock to the system because the body just wasn't used to it. You know, you were pushing your limits almost every day, over and over again. And if you could learn to love that and learn to enjoy that, then it became so much easier. Then, you know, you'd wake up each day looking forward to going to training, looking forward to seeing what you can improve on in the next session. You know, you wouldn't do much during the middle of the day while you're waiting for your next session because it was, you know, you were stuffed basically.
Yeah.
But I think, you know, it was such a big learning curve that, you know, for me, that was a major step in the right direction to becoming a decent professional squash player. Just that initial learning curve.
So you feel like the academy sort of taught you a lot, gave you a really good grounding. Do you feel like once you got away from that and once you explored your own ways of training and how you could improve, figuring it out on your own, was that a better way, a different way, or, you know, how did that affect you? Because obviously it's a different way of training for you.
Yep.
You know.
Yep. It's a good question. I think with academies, you know, the pros and cons, it's one way you're in the AIS or any academy, and you usually have the best of everything. So you'll be taught strength and conditioning, nutrition. You're looking after your body with the physios, on court, off court. Everything's looked after, and everything is so professional. So you're learning so much every day. At the same time, quite often it can be their way or the highway. So you need to follow exactly the plan that the academy is setting out for you. So for a lot of people, that's good, and for a lot of people, that's bad. I spent my first 5 years in an academy, and the amount I learned was insane. Once I stepped away from the academy, it was still such a good and steep learning curve, but it was me figuring things out for myself, trying different training techniques, different training methods, talking to other professionals, reading a lot of stuff myself, and sort of seeing basically trial and error on different training techniques.
Yeah.
And I think, you know, for some people, that's good. It's almost like a sink or swim kind of option.
Yeah.
You know, if you do break away from an academy, which you've known for 5 or 6 years, that's all you know, you could sink or swim. I think I swam, which was good.
Good.
But,
yeah, always pleasing.
But in both ways, it is a very steep learning curve straight out of juniors.
Would you change any period of you being a professional in terms of your training? Would you look back and would you change any particular year or 2 years or 3 years? Would you want to do more time in the academy? Would you want to do less time in the academy? What would you, just looking back now, because you're coming towards the end and you've had, been a professional for 17 years, that's a long time.
Yep.
Is there any particular stage where you felt like, okay, if I could talk to myself again at 18, I'd say do this a little bit differently in terms of being, we're talking about academy here and training.
Yep. Very good question. Obviously at the time, like I said, at the time, you are thinking this is right. What I'm doing now is correct.
Yeah.
So there was no doubt at any stage of what I was doing. But obviously, you look back on a 17-year career, it's tough to pinpoint one particular thing. But I would say in my earlier years, I would have liked to have done a lot more physical conditioning.
Okay.
We did a lot of static sort of
Strength stuff?
Yeah,
or?
static strength stuff. Not so much functional and all body workouts and things like that.
Yeah.
And I think as I got older, I found as soon as I started doing more, upper body incorporated with the lower body, basically full body workouts, which at the end of the session, the whole body feels it. I think if I would have liked to have done more of that. Looking back, that's something I would have tried to incorporate a little bit more, as opposed to isolating, as the saying goes, say a leg day and an upper body day and a full body workout. That's one thing, just to get stronger all over the body, as opposed to isolating certain things.
Okay. So if you were saying, obviously a lot of junior players don't have that option of going into an academy situation. There's actually not that many academies left.
There isn't.
So we're talking about a minority of players. What I'm sort of interested in, how, I personally was never in an academy. I've never been in an academy. Never lived away from home to do it. I've always trained myself mostly, and had a little bit of help along the way, but done a lot of it myself and sort of figured out my own way, I guess. Which in some ways is good, and other ways, I would have liked more support if it was there, if it was possible. But it would have meant moving away from home to Manchester for me, which I wasn't prepared to do. So, and obviously took a slightly different route. I went to university, and that, at 18 to 21, I think is a massive difference in terms of maturity. Whether you've gone to university or not, I think looking back at an 18-year-old self and a 21-year-old self is actually a very big difference in terms of maturity.
Yeah.
So I'm just interested in, the juniors now, how they progress into the senior ranks, because, their strength and conditioning type, nutrition, the support systems that are there are way better now than they used to be for juniors. So, you look now and you've got like 15, 16, 17-year-old kids, and they're on full strength and conditioning programs.
Yeah.
Whereas for me at that age, I'm still playing for 3 or 4 different sports competitively, and not doing any strength and conditioning really.
Yeah.
In fact, none.
Yeah.
Looking back.
Yeah.
So, there's also the element of it is playing different sports when you're young. I think we all agree is a good thing. But where's the age cut off as well? Where do you start concentrating? Because you look at other sports, you look at Tiger Woods, all right, he was immersed in it from a very young age and not really allowed to play other sports. But one of the greatest golfers of all time.
Yeah.
So I think Greg's one that springs to mind for me, Gaultier, because I think he'd probably correct me and tell me he's fantastic at all sports, but I'm pretty sure he was, very concentrating on his squash from a young age all the way through, and he's our current world number 1. So if you want to be the best at something, do you need to concentrate on it from an early age? I know I don't think that's necessarily the case. I'm just picking out some people that I can think of, because I'm sure like Federer's another example of going the other way, where he, I think he played squash, he played obviously tennis. I think he played a few other different sports a little bit when he was younger as well. So there is both sides of it. But I'm interested now, if I'm giving junior advice, what do I tell them to do? Because, I think, is it a good thing they've got these programs in place from a 15, 16-year-old?
Yeah, I mean, it's an interesting one, because, the kid could go either way as well. So if you just play the one sport from when they're 12, 13, 14, they could end up like a Tiger Woods or a Gaultier, where they just excel at that one sport. They love the sport so much. The love for what they're doing doesn't die, and they continue through the junior ranks, transfer into the senior ranks, and kick on to become the best in their sport. But also on the flip side, where, if they are just training with one sport from the age of 13, I think a lot of kids do suffer that burnout, where it's just too much for them. And I'm with you. I played a lot of sports when I was younger, and like I said, I only concentrated on squash when I was sort of 17, 18, 19. I would recommend, kids playing a variety of different sports up until they know for certain that they want to pursue one particular sport, which I wouldn't put that on them until they're 16, 17, 18.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, there's also the other way. I'll say the other way of looking at it, but there's also, as a kid, I felt lucky that I was introduced to squash at an early age. So I started playing when I was 5, and you obviously started playing from a very early age as well.
Yeah.
There's lots of people I speak to, amateurs, that are like, oh, I wish I'd played from a younger age.
Yep.
I wish I'd found the game in my, before I was 10 or even before they were 20. Some guys. So is that, like talking about juniors and junior development, I feel that we need to try and push as an organisation, World Squash Federation, but also independent national organisations need to push this sort of squash in schools way more, because as soon as you're introduced to squash as a kid, it's a very addictive game.
It is.
But it's just trying to get the kids to experience it at a young age. And I think because of the nature of the game, it's fast, you're hitting a ball, it's in an enclosed space, you're not worried about the weather.
Yeah.
I'm an English guy, so I'm obviously
you
don't have to worry about
that. I understand.
We get rain and stuff, the water that falls from the sky.
I
know. Yeah, you've heard about it. But yeah, you can play in it in any weather as well. So I think whether we can help, I don't know, as ex-professionals soon, but professional players, can we do more to really push the squash in schools somehow? Because I'm lucky enough, where I live, we got a great academy. I say academy, but it's not for professionals. It's for kids.
Yep.
They love it, but also we do loads of schools work. I mean, I say I don't do it, but off-the-wall squash, do loads of schools work, and I see the benefits of it directly. I see the kids go from not being able to play or learning the game from being 7, 8 years old.
Yeah. They
move, they find the game. They're a natural athlete. They play squash. They suddenly play for the county. They're part of the academy.
Yeah.
They go up. They play for England. That's the stepping stones.
Yeah.
And we just got to give more kids the opportunity. Like Egypt, why are they so good in the junior ranks? Why are they so good in the senior ranks?
Yeah.
They've got so many kids playing.
Yeah.
They do great work in getting juniors playing there. I don't know exactly what they do, but that's another point that I want to come on to.
We can get an Egyptian on as well.
I don't know.
We can sort of ask him, and it's a numbers game, isn't it?
Yeah.
So, the more, and I know you guys doing it here, I know we're trying to do it in Australia where we're just trying to get squash in so many schools.
Yeah.
And if you get in a school where there's 100 kids that have a go, if you can just get a couple of those kids addicted to squash, which I'm sure they will be, I mean, that's the building blocks, isn't it?
Yeah. Anyway, that is junior development and academies, I guess, in a nutshell. I felt like we could probably talk more about that, but I think we gave that a good overview. We'd love to hear everyone's thoughts on that subject. And please leave us your feedback and let us know what you think about junior development, how the juniors are training these days, your experiences from going from a junior to a senior. So on to the next topic, which is match preparation. We're going to talk about how we prepare for big matches, also how we recover if we've won, and how you then move on to play the next match. You might have a rest day, you might not have a rest day. How do you prepare?
Well, depends how many days I get there before the tournament starts, for starters. So let's say I live in Denmark. Let's say I get a flight from Copenhagen to London. I will generally get there the day before.
Yeah.
It's a short flight. I've got no problem recovering from a train ride and a flight. I'll get there the day before. I'll try and jump on court for 40 minutes, 45 minutes.
Yeah. Is that just to sort of get the body going, have a sweat,
Yeah.
Get used to the court if you can get on it.
Yeah. If I can get on the match court that I know I'm going to play on, jump on there, just run the legs out a little bit, get a bit of a sweat up, get the body going, have a nice big dinner if possible, a nice relaxing evening, good sleep, and then you wake up in the morning and it's match day, and there's a few variables in there where it completely depends on what time your match is.
Yeah, massively.
I mean, how different is it if you've got a 12 o'clock match compared to an 8 p.m. match? I mean, it couldn't be any more different, could it?
Your whole day, even the day before is different.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's interesting. Everyone, I think, prepares the same way in a lot of ways, but also has their own individual ways of preparing. So, yeah, very similar for me. Preparing, going to a tournament. Obviously, you sort of schedule how far in advance you want to get there, and you train and prepare. But I think it'd be good to talk about how we actually prepare on the day. You know, I wake up, right, this is a match day.
Let's say you have a 3 p.m. match.
Okay.
Actually, give me your prime time
for play.
Yeah, your prime time, your ideal match time of a tournament.
I would say I'd like to go for sort of maybe 6 o'clock.
6 o'clock.
6 o'clock's a good time. It means I can have a good sleep and wake up sort of when I want. Have a late breakfast because I'm planning that I want to eat 4 hours before. Now I know it could even be 4.5 to be fair.
Yeah.
I used to eat 3 hours before, digest, no problem. Metabolism now is a lot slower, and I never thought I'd say that.
Yeah.
I just thought it'd be fine the whole time, but it's noticeably different. If I eat 3 hours before, I can feel it on my stomach.
I'm with you 100% on that.
Yeah, so now it's going to be 4.5 hours before. So I'm preparing that I'm going to eat at 1:30. I want to be in a restaurant, or I want to have some pasta or rice or whatever I want to eat at 1:30. So then I work back from there. So I probably want to have breakfast about 10, so I can have a good sleep. Depends if I'm going to practice or not. Sometimes I do, sometimes I don't. It just
if it's a court you haven't had much experience on, or if it's a glass court and you have a 11 o'clock practice hit, would you jump on?
For sure, yeah. I think so. I mean, the worst one is the early practice.
Yeah.
If you've got to practice before 9, I find it really difficult because I find I can't get my body going at the age I'm at now for it to be worthwhile.
Yeah.
It actually does more detriment than it does good.
Yeah.
So
it ends up being a pointless hit. You can't get your body going, and you know you've got another 8 hours before you play.
Exactly. So I think, I try not to think about squash all day. I try it because I find that burns energy negatively for me personally. I like to, get there maybe an hour before I'm going to play. I don't like to be there ages before I'm going to play, but enough time that I can maybe watch a little bit of the match before, see how the court's playing at that particular time. And then once I get changed, then I'm really thinking about my match. I'm thinking about what tactics I want to employ, how I'm feeling, how I want to play, whether my rackets have got right grips on, all this type of stuff. I mean, that type of stuff maybe I think about during the morning and I sort it out. But I'm making sure that mentally I know what I'm going to do when I step on court. And that's my time. That's when I get changed for the match, that's my time to really think about what my tactics are. That's my switch.
And would that be 45 minutes before?
Yeah, probably get changed about 45 minutes before. I like to sort of warm up for 20 minutes. In an ideal world, if I know I'm playing at 6, I'll warm up at 20 to 6. But half the problem, as you know, is that matches run on. The same in, we're trying to relate this to amateurs as well. So if you're playing a tournament, the match before might go longer. So your warm-up then has to adapt, and you might actually go through your warm-up twice. And I find that's not a bad thing. You just have to go through it again, be patient, refocus, and just accept the match before might go on longer. Sometimes it's quick. We're lucky that we have a match time that we can't start before. So therefore that's always good. I mean, amateurs might have a time when they're suddenly on court, and can you do a quick warm up in 2-3 minutes? It's all about getting the heart rate going. For me at that time, just doing a quick few dynamic exercises, try and get the heart rate going, get the blood pumping. You've got to do something, I feel.
You do. You need to get the body going. I'm probably very, very similar on my match day. If it's not too early, if it's 8:30 onwards, I'll probably take the hit. If it's a glass court. If it's a traditional court, I probably won't take it unless I know, like you said, I can have a lay-in, have a nice relaxing breakfast, brunch, go for a hit, get a little sweat. and with the specific pre-match preparation, very, very similar, where I want to see how the court's playing. I want to see who's on there, get a feel for the atmosphere, the crowd, just to hear the sounds, see the sights of what's happening. You know, the court that you're about to walk on. Perfect example, tournament champions, New York City. It's electric, isn't it?
Yeah, it's great.
Electric.
Do you ever still get nervous before you play? Nowhere near as much.
Nowhere near as much. Sometimes yes, and sometimes I need to make myself almost scared nervous in order to get those butterflies.
Yeah.
If I'm playing someone, if it's a big crowd and I'm playing someone who's, especially say ranked above me, the butterflies are normal.
So you still get them?
I will get a few. Yeah.
Okay.
Nothing like 10 years ago.
Yeah.
If you're playing somebody who, and no offense to anyone ranked below me,
yeah.
If you're playing someone who maybe you've beaten a few times and you feel comfortable playing, me personally, I won't get those same butterflies. I might get a couple of nerves because of the occasion and because there's a few hundred people watching and live on Squash TV,
yeah.
et cetera, et cetera. But sometimes I find I've got to almost make myself scared and try and trick myself into how big of an occasion this match is going to be in order to raise my sort of alertness.
Okay, so you get more nervous playing big matches, big players,
yeah.
than you would do against someone that you feel like you should beat. So
yeah.
I'm a little bit more the opposite.
Okay.
I don't really get nervous at all anymore.
Relaxed character.
Yeah, I am pretty relaxed. I find it, if anything, trying to figure out a way to get those nerves or get built up for a match is a lot harder for me to do.
Yeah.
I enjoy playing better players because I don't feel any pressure.
Yeah.
I feel like no one expects me to win, so therefore, what's the worst that can happen?
Yeah.
I lose.
Yeah.
But inside, I'm desperate to win, but I don't feel any pressure. Whereas against someone that's ranked below you or someone you feel you should beat, there's a different type of pressure. Like, I normally deal with it pretty well, but I feel it. I feel a different type of pressure there. So
it's a different mindset.
Yeah, it's a very different mindset, and one that, touch wood, I've always dealt with pretty well, but I've always felt it and known it's there and had a little bit of worry and, just against some players that you don't feel comfortable playing.
Yeah.
And I still sort of get that now, but and maybe part of a team as well. I get more nervous because I'm playing for other people.
Yep.
I don't want to let them down, and so therefore, like playing Australia in the World Teams, which was recently for me. I'm playing Zach, Zach Alexander's a very good player.
Semi-final.
But he's ranked way below me. He's not, a classic full-time player because he still coaches a bit, but is a very good player. And I felt some nerves because I was under pressure to beat someone that was, everyone expected me to win pretty comfortably. Yeah. He's a good player. I know he's a good player, so I'm under pressure because 99% of the crowd look at the rankings and think you're going to win 3 love.
Yeah.
And I sort of know that actually, this guy's much better than you think. Yeah. And look, he's proving it now, and I'm under pressure here.
He's just hit 100 winners.
I know. I can't see the ball.
Well, that was an interesting match. So, for those listeners who don't know, so Zach got to a highest ranking of, I think, mid-30s, 36, something like that. Still plays a lot of tournaments, does a lot of coaching in America, but as we know, can put the ball away. If it's there on his racket, he can put the ball away. And like you said, on paper, people are going to look at that and go, "Oh, okay, well, Daryl Selby, he's the banker there. Okay, that should be no worries. Who's the next match?" And then you've got that weird sort of extra pressure, like you spoke about before, of playing a guy ranked at the moment. I think he's outside the 100.
Yeah, cheers.
So you dealt with it well.
Yeah,
but it's a weird, different pressure.
Playing as a team is a different pressure for sure. It's one I enjoy. Don't get me wrong, I enjoy it. I love playing as a team, but a different type of pressure for sure. And then if you go deep in a tournament, like how are you backing up each day? Are you just, I'm just concentrating on getting my food in as quick as I can after the match, stretching in the room, trying to just mobilise my body in between. Resting, sleeping is so important. Trying to get the best sleep you can. Yeah. Getting interrupted in your sleep is like the worst possible thing. I think that's a real I'm a real stickler for that, trying to get a really good night's sleep.
Yeah.
To rest and recover, and then just trying to enjoy it. Even more so these days. Thinking, I'm going, I've won another round.
Yeah.
And just thinking, I'm enjoying this. You enjoy winning.
That's the thing. Like you said, as we're getting older, you really have to realise what tournament you're in. Take it match by match, day by day. Yeah, like you said, if you win that round, you're like, okay, sweet, I might have a day off. I am going to enjoy it. I might have a small hit, might jump in the gym just to get a small sweat, but I'm going to enjoy the day. I'm going to enjoy watching the other matches, maybe my potential opponent for the next day. I'm the same. Yeah, I like to stay relaxed. I like to get a hit. If I'm having a rest day, I like to get a hit. Funnily enough, Simon Rosner, who's just won the tournament champions.
Stop talking about him.
He just keeps going up, doesn't he? The old wood chopper. So you're probably aware of this, he loves to play games on his rest day.
Yeah.
He just wants to stay in that rhythm.
Yeah, I know, yeah.
If he's had a win in the first round and he's got a rest day, he's like, well, I want to play some games. I'm in good form.
Yeah.
I want to just keep that rhythm going.
That's interesting. Everyone's different, and everyone. Yeah. My rest day to me is a rest day, and I want to just. It's always been like that though. I've never wanted to play, but everyone's different.
Yeah,
it obviously works for him, and that's what's interesting.
Mm.
Anything else you want to talk about on this particular topic? I mean, if there was there's one piece of advice you would give to an amateur that you would say, try this before you play. This might help.
In terms of specific
match preparation. Just anything. Is it anything? Would it be to do with the warm up? Would it just be like the mental side of preparing for a match if they've got a tournament or they got a league match or whatever? Yeah. What would you say?
So many pieces of advice I want to give here.
We'll give more than one if you want.
Let's see. If it's just going to be 1 or 2 points, and let's say you've got a club player going down for a league match, nighttime league match. Say they've worked all day, they're going to go down the club, they're going to play. I would say if you can jump on court and hit a few balls around, don't go mad, but just hit a few balls around, get a little sweat, get the body going, go jump in the shower, get changed, and you'll feel $1 million.
So shower first. That's the tip. Hit some balls and shower.
Hit some balls.
Yeah.
Okay, hit some balls, get a little sweat, jump in the shower, refresh, get your league clothes on, and then bang, you're right to go. Any listeners out there, give that a crack.
I want to hear if anyone actually does that. It'll be interesting. And the result.
Yeah, please. Comment, hashtag comments from the couch. Send me some results, guys. I want to see if my little one tip wonder has done any wonders.
I need to find a better tip. So a lot of the time, I would say, people ask me, how do I beat a guy I always lose to? How do I beat him? Well, he's just another player. You have to figure out what it is that his weakness is and just go for it. There's a lot of the time you believe you can't beat someone until the first time you beat them. Then you're like, oh, I can actually beat them. And it's just a small little thing. It's like trying to have that belief, I'm actually a good player. You look at yourself in the mirror before you go on, give yourself a little pep talk, say, I'm a good player. Believe you can beat them. Never walk onto court believing you're not going to win the match, or at least not give yourself a chance to win the match. Otherwise, you might as well turn around and go home.
Exactly.
So I would say, any amateur players, my mental tip would be to just believe that you can beat anyone.
Yeah, have that belief before you walk on court.
Enjoy it, but believe you can win.
Yep.
You can win.
I like it.
So, on to the last part of today's show. This is, of course, what we've all been waiting for.
It is.
It's Bobby's quiz. Music, please.
I can't wait for this.
That was actually the same as last time.
Yeah.
Well done. So, last time, the quiz was pretty random, and I thought I'd rein it in today and make it squash specific.
Ooh, I like it. I did ace last quiz though, didn't I?
Not quite.
Not aced.
6 out of 7.
6 out of 7.
You got bonus points. It was
7 from 10.
7 from 10. It was decent.
I'll take that.
I'm not actually. There's more bonus points up for grabs today. In fact, there's loads of bonus points up for grabs. So we'll get stuck in. So this is a squash quiz. There's 5 questions, and I'm hoping that you don't get many right, but I think you should. Here we go. Play along at home. Feel free. There's some good questions in here.
See if you can beat me.
Yeah, I'm sure you will. Right, first one. How many consecutive British Open titles did Heather Mackay win? Bonus point if you can tell me the years they were between.
Oh, wow. The years I'm going to struggle with.
Okay.
I'm going to say...
I sort of knew this.
I'm going to say 17.
That is an excellent guess.
Am I right?
Not right.
Oh!
16.
16.
Very close. Which, when I was researching it, 16
That's
in a row.
ridiculous. That's insane.
Do you want to have a guess when it was between? You might as well have a guess. It's a free guess at a bonus point.
I'm bad. I don't even know what era she played.
Come on, Billy.
I'll say...
This is going to embarrass you. Come on. Get close at least.
63.
Oh! He's won out again.
No way.
Yeah, 62 to 77. Oh, there's just
so close yet so far.
There's just no justice in this world. So 0 points after question 1.
God.
Okay. Next question. This is a multiple choice. I know you wanted multiple choice.
Love these.
Who won the most British Open titles? Was it Jahangir, Jamshir, Jeff Hunt, or Jonah Barrington? You can have bonus points if you can tell me how many it was.
Okay.
Or how many each of them won. British Opens we're talking here, because there was obviously some of the ones that Jeff and Jonah won were world champions.
Okay, just British Opens.
Yeah.
I'm going to say Jahangir.
Okay. That's correct.
Yes, thank you.
Jahangir is correct.
Jahangir with... There's two numbers in my head.
Okay.
And it's a 50-50 shot from here.
That's normally what happens.
I'm going to say Jahangir with 10 British Opens.
He's absolutely nailed it.
Nailed it. Thanks for coming.
What was the other number you had? 9?
8.
Oh, 8.
Yeah, but I think there was 8 world titles. World championships. We can double check that for next.
Yeah, I think...
Was it? I thought
no,
it was...
I think Jahangir won 6 world titles. I might be wrong. I think... So Jamshir won 6 British Opens. But I think Jamshir won 8 world titles.
Okay, that's where 8 is, yeah.
Jeff was 8 world championships. But from my memory of research, I think it was 4 were classed as British Opens and 4 were classed as world championships. Something like that.
Yeah.
Jonah was 6.
Jonah 6.
Jonah 6. So,
nailed that one.
Bonus point as well. Well done. Very, very well done. Impressed with that. Okay. Question 3. How many different female world number 1s has there been since Nicole David first became world number 1 in January 2006? So since Nicole became world number 1, which was 1st of January 2006, how many different world number 1s have there been? Include Nicole in your number.
Including Nicole.
Yeah, including Nicole.
Okay. Could embarrass myself here. I'm going to...
It's 12 years ago.
So in
12 years.
Well, Nicole was there for about 9 years. So so I'm going to go Nicole.
Bonus points if you can name them all.
Oh, how many? Oh, no, that was the
question. I'm not telling you how many there are. That is
what
the question.
Is the answer?
That's the real
Nicole, quiz. In no particular order. Rach Grinham was before, I think.
I'll give you a clue. Rach was before.
Yeah, she was. Let's see.
Come on, Pill. We've got to play a match later.
Laura, Nicole, Shabini.
Yeah. Yep. 3 right.
Oh, I'm having a blank here. I apologise to any female that I'm just leaving you out.
I'm going
to say 4, but I can only get 3.
It's actually 5.
That's 5?
Yeah.
Did I get those 3?
Raneem, Shabini.
Oh,
Raneem, Shabini and Laura were the other 3.
Yeah.
And Nicole. So Nicole's reign was interrupted by Vanessa Atkinson.
Vanessa.
For 5 months at the start. So Nicole became world number 1.
Yeah.
And then Vanessa a few months later then took it over for a few months, and then obviously Nicole
Yeah, I wouldn't have got
smashed
that.
it after that. But that I was trying to trick you there.
That was if any listeners got that, I will be very impressed.
Yeah.
Please let us know.
Yeah, that would have been a good effort. Okay, question 4. How many different male world number 1 players have there been this century?
This century.
Yes. You know what that means?
Yeah.
Just checking.
Yeah.
So since 2000, how many different male world number 1s have there been? Can you name them all?
I don't think Jancha. I think he might have been there in '99.
So I'll give you a clue. I'll start you off. So I'll give you 2 clues.
Yep.
Two guys to start you off. So Power and Nickel is from them.
Okay.
Basically.
Okay.
So that's 2.
Yep.
So Power
Okay.
and Nickel were sort of at the start of 2000s. So onwards from then.
Linku,
Yes.
Beechel,
Yes.
Palmer.
Yes. Come on.
Rami.
Yep.
Shubagi.
Yep.
Gaultier.
Yep.
Nick.
Yep.
Willstrop.
Yep. You're missing 3, I think.
John White.
Yep. I say how many. I've sort of told you how many, but it doesn't matter. I want you to name them all. You got two to
two
get.
more.
Yeah.
2 more.
Do you want a clue or not? Should we give him a clue or not? Come on. You
Uh,
definitely played against both of them.
let's go.
Absolutely scandalous forehand front corner.
Nearly
Darwish. Nearly as good as yours.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Karim Darwish.
Yes. Darwish.
There's
one more.
Is it
I'll give you
Shabana?
You've said Shabs. Have you said Shabs?
No.
Okay. There's one more after that.
there's one more. A fellow countryman of Shabana.
If I give you a clue, he's only been world number 1 for 1 month.
1 month.
Come on.
1 month. Come on, Cameron.
He's a previous world champion.
Previous world champion. He's only been world number 1 for 1 month.
I think there's people shouting at you through the podcast.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Going, I know it.
I'm sure. No.
No?
No.
The babyface assassin.
Of course.
Kareem Abdel-Gawad.
Of course.
Yes.
So recent. How did
so
you get
recent, yeah. Just the 1 month.
So in total there was 12?
14, yeah.
14.
14. Hang on. I don't know if I count that right. No. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Oh, yeah, 14.
14.
I was right. I did
Okay.
right that. So, yeah. And just out of interest, who held number 1 for the longest out of that?
Out of that group?
Yeah.
I will go with Pete Nick.
Yes. Do you know how long?
How many months?
Yeah.
I'm going to say 36 months.
60.
Oh, wow. 60 months.
60
The
months,
world number
yeah.
1.
Next best is Shabs, 33. Anyway, very good. Last question.
Last one.
How many months has Cameron Pilley been in the top 20 players in the world? And I asked this question because I recently found out that I'm on 99 months.
99 months.
In the top 20 players in the world. So if
That's impressive.
if I can manage to get to stay in the top 20 for March 1st rankings, I'll be be 100 months top 20.
That's
which
impressive.
I'm pretty proud of.
I
have
like
to
that.
say. It was a good little goal when I found out. But
Do you know
how many you've been?
I can't remember.
So I had a look through, and you've sort of been in for very good stints, and then
I've
just
had
outside,
yeah.
and then back in, and then.
Okay, if you've had 99,
yeah,
you haven't dropped out, or did you drop out once?
Once for 1 month since I got in, but I've obviously been playing. That wasn't. Oh, you were way above me a lot earlier. So
I'm gonna
take that into
say.
consideration.
Okay, I'm gonna say. I've cracked the ton. 101.
Oh, good guess. You have cracked the ton.
I have.
Which I want to say is a very impressive achievement.
I'm happy with that.
You've smashed the ton by a whole year.
Have I?
112 months.
Jeez, thanks for coming.
I know.
Thanks for coming.
I've just popped his ego up perfectly before we play our PSL match.
God, I'm looking forward to this match.
But yeah,
112. Okay.
Mate, that's impressive. I have to say that's very impressive. So
thank you, sir.
You didn't get it right, but there we go.
Yeah.
There's a little quiz for today. I think Cameron did pretty well, actually.
Yeah.
Did pretty well.
It was okay.
Did pretty well.
Yeah.
Let us know how you lot got on. And we will have another quiz next time. Bobby's quiz is going to be extra special. And that's the end of another podcast. So, Comments from the Couch, the Squash Show, officially the name of our show, has come to an end for today. I've thoroughly enjoyed it. Hope you have too.
Very much so.
Good chat. Very good chat. Leave us some feedback. I know this has been a fairly lengthy podcast again, but we're hoping that you can maybe split it down into sections if you want to listen to it at, say, 20 minutes ago or whatever, because we're aware it's quite a long podcast. But, you know, squash fans out there hopefully enjoy it. And myself and Cameron, living in Denmark and Essex, respectively, aren't too close together. So these podcasts won't be able to happen on a weekly basis. So if we do a longer one, then please feel free to break it up into sections and listen to it as you like. Anything else you want to add?
No, I think
we need to get some guests on.
We do need to get some guests.
I was going to ask you, what do you think? We need to... any suggestions for guests you'd like to have on? I've got a few in mind that I think would be really good, who I'll ask and see if they'd like to join us. I mean, let's hope they do.
Yeah.
Maybe they'll just tell us to...
tell us where to go.
Tell us where to go, yeah.
Oh, maybe they've never heard of us.
Probably not heard of us. Podcast? What's a podcast?
Nah. Well, if anyone's got a specific player or, you know, staff member of any squash team or coach.
Yeah, doesn't have to be a player. It can be a coach. Yeah, as you say, it can be a coach. Can be anyone you want. A referee. Try and get Johnny Maz or Roy Ginger on.
I can't understand Roy. It's the thickest accent.
So
if he's on, I'm going to struggle. Roy boy, you struggle. Oh.
So he's not podcast material.
No, we'll give him a go.
Okay. But yeah, please let us know in the comments on Twitter. Hopefully we're getting this onto iTunes and maybe even Spotify. So hopefully you're listening to that if we've managed to do that. If not, it'll definitely be on SoundCloud. Anything else we need to add today? Thank you. Thanks for joining me, Cameron, today.
It's been a pleasure once again.
Always a pleasure. Thank you everyone for joining us, and we will see you next time. Ciao for now.